policy to support enhancement of county on-source revenue, that proposed that we have an integrated county revenue management system so that we can promote the revenue collection, transparency, accountability, and seal revenue leakages. But this discussion, Mr. Speaker, is a good discussion, but it has taken too long. So this bill is ahead of them by proposing that we have a legislation that will anchor their proposals into law. Mr. Speaker, we have also had a multi-agency task force on this issue of integrated county revenue management system so that we can have standardized revenue collection systems in our counties. Because what is happening, Mr. Speaker, is that we have diverse systems for revenue collection in different counties. And these systems, Mr. Speaker, talking as an IT expert, these systems are not type approved. We need to have a type approval process so that we have an entity that analyzes these systems and says that this system is suitable for revenue collection. Most of those systems don't meet the standards. The issue of agency fee that has been raised by Senator Cheregei, it is true. Some of them have very exorbitant agency fees. And the question is, that money, where does it go to? If you ask someone to pay money, and then you say 20% of that money is an agency fee, whom does it go to? These are questions. And that is another avenue of stealing from our counties. We know some of these systems are timed not to operate at particular times. So that at particular times when they think the revenue is very high, the system goes down, they go back to manual. That is when the stealing is taking place. Mr. Speaker, I want to support this process of having an integrated county revenue management system so that we can have a uniformity, so that even this House can audit that system. But if we have diverse systems, in fact, in some counties, we have multiple revenue collection systems. Not just one, it is multiple. So, Mr. Speaker, this bill by Senator Hamida helps us to standardize the systems that we have in our counties to ensure that there is transparency, efficiency, and verifiability of these systems, so that we ensure that we are able to deal with security issues like fraud-related issues. But, Mr. Speaker, even as we do this, I want to encourage that counties must run these systems distinctively from the national government. So the proposal on requiring that the counties shall, in consultation with the National Treasurer and KRA, decide, I think we need to relax that. I maybe say maybe, because we also don't want, as the people who are supposed to help in implementation of Article 96, to be seen to be making our counties subsidiary to the national government. So I think that part, Senator Hamida, I would propose that we have an improvement on that. Secondly, county treasury is just an entity in counties. And this decision to come up with this system is a bigger decision that requires the input of the county executive. So we should not make it as a preserve of the county treasury. We need to say that county executive will be taking the lead in this, because county treasurer is a junior member of the county. He reports to the chief officer, finance, and also CEC, finance. Those are people who are supposed to make substantive decisions regarding financial matters in the county. So we can't keep them off this. we need to amend that so that we give this power to the county executive. Mr. Speaker, the requirement that reports be presented to the Senate and to the county assembly is very timely. But I have a problem with presenting the reports to the National Treasury, because again, that also makes counties subsidiary to the national government. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the transfer of functions, funding, the costing of function, I think, Mr. Speaker, this is one of the areas that this Senate must take the lead. We have been taken in circles on this matter of transfer of functions. Even this current regime, the Kenya Kwanza regime, among the many promises they made to Kenyans, I remember one of the promises they made was that within 6 months of them coming to power, they will ensure 100% transfer of function. That has not happened, Mr. Speaker. We are now in the second year. That has not happened. There is no sign that that will happen. I remember last year, the IGRTC also said the same thing, that they are almost finalizing. They are 1 month away to transferring functions to the counties. Mr. Speaker, they have not done that. It's just talk, talk, and talk, and talk. I think this is a conversation that we must take the lead as a Senate and push it, because we have so many functions which are in the national government which should actually be in the county government. And we are not just talking about transfer of functions. This bill is now giving us the legal mandate to say that functions are, money must follow functions. We are not just transferring functions. And I want to ask governors to be very careful on how they engage the national government on the matter of functions. Because nowadays, the national government has now devised another way of controlling devolved function. They have now come up with what we call counterpart funding, where they say we are going to give you 50% and give us 50%. A good example, Mr. Speaker, is the funding for CHPs. They say we are going to give you 50%, give us 50%. CHPs in most counties have not been paid their stipend. In my own county, for the last 3 months, they have not been paid because of the delay in releasing the 50% counterpart funding by the national government. Mr. Speaker, we have also seen this issue of industrial park, where they said counterpart funding of 50%. Most of the money has not been taken to counties. The projects that were launched are still lying there. They are going to become white elephant. So we want to ask our governors to try and avoid getting into agreements with the national government on the pretext of counterpart funding. Funds must follow all the devolved function. Even liquor. I have heard the deputy president say that they want to take over liquor licensing in counties. I want to tell the deputy president, you have better things to do. Leave counties to run their function. Liquor is a county function. That is where some counties get their revenues. So if you say you want to take it over because you want to run it better, and yet the national government has functions which they are not running better, who is going to run for them those functions which they are not running better? Mr. Speaker, the issue of ECD, we have a lot of functions, ECD related, which are still being run in the Ministry of Education. All those functions should be taken to counties, and funds follow those functions. So that if we want to tell our counties to be run better, we want to tell them to be run better, but when we know they have more resources to run those functions. Mr. Speaker, this is a very timely bill, and with the little panel beating that I've indicated, this is a bill that we should all support and make it better. And I'm sure the National Assembly will also fast-track this bill so that we have a uniform, integrated county revenue management system, and probably this will help us deal with the problem of mismanagement of on-source revenue, which also affects budget control and performance. Mr. Speaker, the leading query, audit query in most counties is the issue of budget control and performance, because counties are not able to meet the set targets of on-source revenue, and therefore they end up having budgets which are not working, and that becomes a query. So in a way, this bill will help in dealing with accountability issues, budget issues in our county, and make our counties run better. Mr. Speaker, as I finish, I also want to say I am very disappointed. I know my friend Eddie was a bit emotional on this issue, but I also want to join my friend Cheregei to say I'm disappointed with the mediation committee. We all agreed, we passed a BPS here, we also made a decision, a majority decision, and agreed that we will stick with the 415 billion shillings.
You are wading towards where Senator Eddie went. Do not anticipate that debate on that particular report. We are yet to receive it. We will receive it tomorrow. You will get an opportunity to castigate, if you want, the committee on mediation on what they've done. So do not anticipate that debate.
Well guided, Mr. Speaker. I was just saying that because, you know, we are talking about revenue, and there are two levels of revenue, the shareable revenue and the on-source revenue. So, and you know, the shareable revenue may also affect the on-source revenue, because county governments may want to invest in these systems, and they need money. So anyway, we will leave that debate for another day. Just to say, this is a wonderful bill, and I fully support it, and I want to encourage the members of this House to support it and fast-track it to become law with a few amendments that have been proposed by the Finance Committee, and they are going to be proposed by the members in this House. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Thank you, Senator Osotsi. Senator Muma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to this bill. I rise to support the bill